to the voiceless.
And hope to the hopeless.
Remember, every Sunday at 12:30 p.m. on the network service of Radio Nigeria. Don't miss it. In a world of diverse cultures, religion, and belief, these differences shouldn't divide but bind. Bound together in love, we can complement each other's strengths. Indeed, Nigeria is a blessed nation, and its diversity a blessing. For more on how to harness this blessing, join Mr. Benyu on Common Ground Matters every Tuesday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on the network service of Radio Nigeria as we further discuss how to foster and promote peace and unity. Common Ground Matters fosters and promotes peace and unity every Tuesday at 10 a.m. on Radio Nigeria Network. Join us.
Many believe life as we know it has changed irrevocably, and that in this seismic shift lies an opportunity to turn things around, improve our country, and make life better for the majority. It is time to reboot Nigeria. Daria Media, with the support of the MacArthur Foundation, presents Pivotal. Join Nabila Usman as she discusses with policymakers, civil society, industry players, and individual Nigerians implementing unconventional ideas that have the power to change our country for the better. Catch Pivotal Mondays 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on the network service of Radio Nigeria. Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
As we earlier told you, the federal government has commenced the National Flood Campaign to educate and sensitize the public about flood risks and safety measures. During the campaign at Nyanya Market in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Environment, Mr. Mahmoud Kambari, said the 2024 flood reports indicated significant losses in several states, as the need for early warning systems, proper waste management, and sustainable land use practices. Mr. Kambari said the campaign was to empower residents with the knowledge and actionable strategies to prevent and manage flood disasters. Represented by the Director, Erosion, Flood Control and Coastal Zone Management in the Ministry, Mr. Usman Bokani, the Permanent Secretary explained that educating communities on preventive measures before, during, and after flooding was key to reducing vulnerability.
Awareness campaign needs to be a continuous thing, and it's supposed to be a collective thing. It's not just for Federal Ministry of Environment, but the whole of Nigeria. Everybody, all hands must be on deck if we really want to save this menace. We are just starting with Nyanya. We also intend to get to other places like Kuje, Lugbe, Kubwa, Buari, and all that.
Mr. Bokani stated that the sensitization would be replicated across flood-prone states in the country. Highlight of the event was the cleaning of drainages in the community. Under some health matters, the National Health Insurance Authority, NHIA, has commenced on-the-spot assessment of the level of compliance with the new directives on the 1-hour deadline for the issuance of pre-authorization code by health maintenance organizations, HMOs. Based on the new guidelines introduced by the NHIA under the leadership of Dr. Kelechi Oyiri, facilities are mandated to continue with the provision of healthcare services to enrollees of pre-authorization code from HMOs are delayed before 1 hour. That's beyond 1 hour. Health editor Maureen Eke, who was part of the team, reports that the enforcement commencement began in the FCT.
To measure and ensure compliance with the 1-hour authorization code directive in the FCT, the National Health Insurance Authority's assessment and enforcement team conducted unscheduled visits to 2 prominent public hospitals in Abuja, the Federal Medical Center, Jobi, and the National Hospital. At the National Hospital, the team observed that some personnel of the facility involved in the request for authorization code from the HMOs were not conversant with the new directive. NHIS Acting Director Enforcement, Dr. Habib
Habib Abdulhamid then sensitized the personnel on the steps to take towards providing services to enrollees, while HMOs who were discovered to have flouted the deadline were also contacted on the spot.
Because we do not want delay, and HMOs have agreed to this, but even for those instances where you don't get it, the enrollee should not be kept waiting. If you want to provide service, comply with the steps here, and you still get paid for it. Because the aim of this essentially is to see that people do not wait unnecessarily in the hospital.
At the end of the exercise, Dr. Habib Abdulhamid reported about 70% compliance with the 1-hour authorization code deadline at the National Hospital. Moving over to the Federal Medical Center, Jabi, the assessment team indicated that the HMOs were in total compliance with the directive. A particular case discovered during the visit revealed that the facility had delayed in uploading their data. Dr. Abdulhamid expressed the authorities' commitment to investigate some of the discrepancies observed by the team, while urging HMOs and healthcare providers to comply with the new policy directive to avoid facing sanctions by the authority.
One of the enrollees we saw said she's been here for more than an hour, and upon further interrogation we found out that the HMO had actually replied to them. They had not checked their email, so all of that had been sorted out.
Giving an overall assessment of the exercise, NHIS Director, North Central B Region, Dr. Chris Oko, noted that despite some of the discrepancies, there have been improvements in response time to requests for authorization codes.
In Jabi, we had almost a seamless response time that is less than 1 hour. But here we have some outliers. One of the HMO that was fingered there is also one of the HMOs that was also fingered in this place.
The NHIS enforcement team is scheduled to continue monitoring the 1-hour authorization code deadline by health maintenance organizations in other health facilities across the country in the coming weeks. In Abuja, Maureen Eke, Radio Nigeria.
The federal government, in collaboration with Genius Pharmaceuticals Limited, has unveiled a groundbreaking nationwide health competition aimed at engaging young Nigerians in the fight against malaria. The exercise, titled the Genius National Health Competition, is among secondary schools and tertiary institutions across the country. Annabelle Wachiku reports.
The Janet National Health Competition, set to roll out across secondary schools and higher institutions nationwide with state, regional and national contests, aims to raise awareness on malaria prevention, treatment and early diagnosis. The Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Pate, who reiterated the federal government's commitment to eradicating the scourge of malaria, said the competition aligns with President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda in education, social investment and health. Professor Pate, represented by the Director of Public Health, Dr. Godwin Ntadom, commended the organizers and described the project as strategic in the ongoing battle against malaria.
The efforts of the organization, Genius Pharmaceuticals, is great and is laudable, and I think it is one of the points of the coordinating unit at our own.
The chairman of the pharmaceutical company, Mr. Emmanuel Umenwa, noted that the competition aligns with the theme of the 2025 World Malaria Day. Let's come together to reinvest, reimagine, reignite, and stay committed. Mr. Umenwa further explained that the aim of the competition is to foster a culture of health awareness and advocacy among young people.
To think outside the box, with a view to developing new ideas, concepts, strategies for malaria prevention. This will involve leveraging technology, the social media and community engagement to raise awareness and drive positive change.
The project lead, Mr. Cletus Ilobonafo, described it as one of Africa's largest youth-driven malaria campaigns, leveraging the young population.
Secondary school and of course, national institution will be winning over 400 million and indeed over 600 million in gifts for this competition. It's one of its kind in Africa, towards making them to own fighting malaria through quiz on malaria and health.
The chairman, Council Board, Pharmacy Council of Nigeria, Ajia Wosilat Giwa, who noted that poverty and poor funding continue to fuel the spread of malaria in the country, commended the organizers for focusing on young people, describing them as the ideal group to champion the fight against malaria. In Abuja, Annabelle Wachiku, Radio Nigeria.
A consultant otolaryngologist with the Federal Medical Center, Abuja, Dr. Uche Ukwije, has stressed the need for people to put their health above every other interest to achieve their dreams and live a fulfilled life. She spoke in Abuja at an event to inspire young women to network, discover their potential, and contribute to national development. Dr. Ukwije, who is a consultant in the ear, nose and throat department of the hospital, said adherence to the right diet, regular exercise, spiritual and family supports are critical towards living a fulfilled life.
Reduce the carbs, cut out the sweets, increase the vegetables, increase the fruits. That generally should make a healthy diet. Try to avoid fried things. Late night meals are not healthy at all because then you're less active. So you find a situation where you eat, you sleep off. Most of the calories you have eaten now stays in your body and the body converts it to fat. It causes a lot of damage. Then of course, exercise is very key.
Dr. Ukwije also stressed the need for the girl child to be trained to be self-sufficient and always stand out in her chosen career. Another guest on the occasion and climate change enthusiast, Ebaide Ominu, urged Nigerians to always ensure adequate preservation of their health and the ecosystem by reducing the use and production of plastics. The convener, Mrs. Margaret Obioha, said she was inspired by the zeal to help women discover their potential and contribute to nation building.
You can be good and blue. You can be good and still achieve so much. You can be good and soar like an eagle. But don't let it stop you from reaching your potential. And when you're reaching your potential, is the best way to inspire other women. Another advice I have for ladies, please, when you're inspired, when you get there, don't stop at that. Kindly put your hand down and bring other women up.
Mrs. Obioha said her organization was also committed to coming to the aid of rape victims and reintegrating them into the society. As part of its social responsibility to the society, the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, says it has provided free healthcare services to over 3,000 residents of Oshafa in Buari Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory. The President, Road Safety Officers' Wives Association, Rosowa, Dr. Nafisat Shehu Mohammed, said the gesture was to enhance the living standard of rural dwellers, represented by Mrs. Sadia Hafiz. The Rosowa president said the medical outreach was also part of activities to make the rural dwellers friendly to the Traffic Management Agency. Dr. Mohammed appealed to the people of Oshafa to always keep their environments clean and avoid dumping refuse on the road and waterways.
The benefits and the essence of this outreach is for us to reach the people and the community. So they will be fit, because if you are not fit, you can't use the road. By not being fit and you use the road, you cause accidents. So we want to try to reach out to them to make them healthy and fit.
The FCT Sector Commander of FRSC, Mr. Mutar Chori, said the free medical outreach was also meant to make road users healthy and fit to drive on the road. The federal government has been called upon to suspend the enforcement of the Cybercrime Act until some provisions of the legislation are reviewed and aligned with global standards. The Nigerian Guild of Editors and Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, made the call in Lagos at a news conference to mark World Press Freedom Day. Correspondent Neron Odufayo reports that the Nigerian Guild of Editors has set up a committee to look into the Act with a view to propose amendments of the Act to avoid repression of journalists, that's journalism practice in the country.
The two bodies expressed some concerns about the Cybercrime Act, which they described as restrictive to the practice of journalism in the country, hence the need to critically review it for the good of the nation and the people. President of the Guild, Mr. Eze Anaba, explained that there was need to look at the dangers of Cybercrime Act to the practice of journalism, as security and law enforcement agencies had increasingly been using it to undermine journalism. Mr. Anaba noted that some specific sections of the Act were threats and posed danger to media practice in violation of the Section 22 of the Nigerian Constitution.
They are recognizing every disagreement, every mistake. The Cybercrime Act is now being used to deny journalists of their liberty, of the right to practice. Instead of us to be empowered to hold our leaders to account, to put their feet to fire, what we have been terrorized with in the Cybercrime Act, specifically using Section 15 of the Act. I think it's imperative we speak talk and will tell the authority. More than ever before, Nigerians need the media to stand up to the threat our positions constitute to the development of our country, to our democracy in particular.
The Deputy Director of SERAP, Mr. Kolawole Oluwadare, expressed concern about the Cybercrime Act, which he argued were a disguise to suppress the media.
We are concerned that the Cybercrime Act continues to be abused to directly violate media freedom and to criminalize Nigerians simply for a peaceful exercise of their constitutional and internationally guaranteed human rights, including the right to freedom of expression.
The Secretary of the Guild, Dr. Yobosa Ugware, said that the Guild had set up a committee to look into the Cybercrime Act and other laws stifling media practice and make recommendations to President Tinubu and the National Assembly for amendment or outright removal.
We urge President Tinubu and his government, the country's authorities, state government and federal media minister to genuinely uphold press freedom. We urge the National Assembly to immediately drop all bills targeting the regulation of social media and civil society and other things that will restrict freedom of expression, media freedom, civic space, and undermine the effective enjoyment of this right in Nigeria.
The forum was attended by top journalists and media executives, including the General Manager of Radio 103.5 FM Lagos, Mr. Korede Ogubumi, from Lagos, Nero Udufire Radio Nigeria.
Callers on Radio Link, Radio Nigeria's audience participatory program, have called on the federal government to fully implement the new national minimum wage to alleviate the suffering of Nigerian workers. One of them, Mr. Gabriel Anye from Ebonyi, states that a lot of workers are barely struggling to survive due to the rising cost of living in the country.
Nigerian workers are suffering. I want the government to look into the plight of Nigerian workers. Minimum wage of 70,000 naira cannot take us to anywhere. There are those things that are not even paid 18,000 naira, upwards of 30,000, upon 70,000. Where are we heading to? I'm calling on Nigerian workers. Let them continue to put their effort. But all of us should remember that any government that comes in will come and go.
Another caller into the program, Mr. Stephen Ayodele from Ibadan, Oyo State, said there is no hope for the Nigerian workers as minimum wage has long been watered down by inflation.
Minimum wage is different from a minimum wage. The one we are not having or as a worker is for a minimum wage. The worker gets living wage, generally speaking. Minimum wage has already dead on its arrival. Since then, the price of the commodities and transport has been increased.
A guest on the program, Comrade Chukwuma Nze, and a member of the 2025 Mayday NLC-TUC Planning Committee, appealed to the federal government to pay teachers in the FCT the new minimum wage.
The worker gets living wage, generally speaking. Minimum wage has already dead on its arrival. Since then, the price of the commodities and transport has been increased.
Another caller into the program, Mr. Muhammad Deri urged the federal government to increase pension amounts to the pensioners. You're listening to the news on the network service of Radio Nigeria. In the headlines, federal government has commenced a national flood campaign. National Health Insurance Authority has enforced 1-hour deadline for pre-authorization code for HMOs. Over 3,000 residents have benefited from free healthcare. Still to come, Consumer Protection Commission accuses Meta of plot to incite public against government. Plus, sports, commentary, cyberscope, newspaper headlines and weather report. Stay with us.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
As part of its financial literacy and public enlightenment mandate, the Bankers Committee has come up with the 2025 MSME radio show. The objectives is to deepen MSME understanding of the evolving changes in the subsector, business strategies for growth and various national and international policy, financial experts from deposit money banks, development partners, regulatory institutions and successful entrepreneurs would arm listeners with premium financial knowledge. Tune in to the network service of Radio Nigeria between 5 to 6 p.m. every Monday. Topics to be covered are cashless policy and alternative payment channels, contactless payment options, sourcing FX, agency banking, raising capital and cross-border trade. To find out more or register, visit www.smegrowth.ng on Facebook and Instagram at Bankers Committee, FLPE.
Monday, your darling program, Eagle Square, will bring to you one of the issues this administration considers most important to it, the security of lives and property, not in the cities alone, but security of bushes and forests across the Federation. The Commandant General of the Nigerian Forest Security Service, Ambassador Joshua Osatimehin, will be our guest on the topic.
There are some forests in this country that the bandit, the Boko Haram, have their camp. Nigeria has 1,122 forest reserve, 29 game reserve, and 17 national park. All these are embedded within the forested region, unguided, unprotected.
Join us at 7:30 in the evening on Eagle Square, a Radio Nigeria accountability program where only the truth is good enough.
He was nearly caught off guard. Is that a goal? That's a goal! They've given the goal!
It's back, better, bigger, and tastier. It's the Nigeria Professional Football League live on Radio Nigeria Network. Radio Nigeria, in partnership with the Nigeria Professional Football League, is bringing live football commentaries of the Nigeria Premier League to your homes and phones. It's a delicacy you don't want to miss. For sponsorship and advert placement, contact Grace on 0803 703 4303, 0803 703 4303, or make a dash to the Sports and Outside Broadcast Directorate, Radio House, Delhi, Abuja, MPFL, and Radio Nigeria Sports, a partnership for the football delight of all Nigerians. FRCN Sports, connected through sports, uniting the nation.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission says the recent claim by WhatsApp that it may be forced to exit Nigeria appears to be a calculated move to induce negative public reaction and pressure the Commission to reconsider its decision. This is sequel to a court judgment which upheld a $220 billion fine imposed on Meta by the Commission over violation of consumers' rights. A statement by the Director, Corporate Affairs, Ondajie Ijago, says threatening to exit Nigeria does not absolve Meta of liabilities for the outcome of judicial process. The statement explains that the Commission investigated Meta Platforms and WhatsApp, jointly referred to as Meta Parties, for allegedly violating the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Act and the Nigeria Data Protection Regulation. It finds out that Meta Parties engaged in multiple and repeated infringements, which included denying Nigerians the right to control their personal data, transferring and sharing Nigerian user data without authorization, discriminating against Nigerian users compared to users in other jurisdictions, and abusing other dominant market positions by forcing unfair privacy policies. The statement maintains that recent affirmation of FCCPC's final order by the Competition and Consumer Protection Tribunal requires Meta Parties to take steps to comply with Nigerian law, stop exploiting Nigerian consumers, change their practices to meet Nigerian standards, and respect consumer rights consistent with international best practices. It, however, stated that the Commission remains committed in its pursuit of consumer protection and data privacy towards ensuring a fairer digital market in Nigeria. The Diocesan Bishop of the Methodist Church Nigeria, Nyanya Abuja, Right Reverend Kinde Adeyemi, says Nigeria will overcome its socio-economic and political challenges soonest than ever imagined. The clergyman expressed the hope in his message on the state of the nation at this year's Church Synod with the theme, He Will Rise Again, held in New Karu, Nasarawa State. Bishop Adeyemi stressed the need for Nigerians to support the current administration of President Bola Tinubu to change the ugly situation for better.
I therefore appeal to every one of us to exercise patience and be hopeful that the many policies adopted by this administration will yield positive results to the benefit of the entire populace, thereby alleviating the sufferings and challenges of Nigerians within the shortest possible time. Furthermore, it is important that we all change our orientations as Nigerians.
Some delegates, including Dr. Benga Obembe, represented by Mrs. Olayemi Obembe and Mr. Eriba Ukoiriba, urged the government to find lasting solutions to insecurity, hardship, and other social vices affecting the growth of the country.
The fixing of Nigeria is in our hands. When we make up our mind to do the right thing, we'll see the right result. That we should be positive-minded, and every one of us should put our hands on deck to Nigeria.
My message to the government is that they should be people-oriented, people-friendly. They are the representing the people. They are the stewards of the people. Let them know that people are suffering and do what they can do to alleviate the suffering, and Nigeria will rise again.
High points of the event was presentation of gifts to some youths who graduated with first class from their respective institutions as way of motivating others. Meanwhile, the Christian Association of Nigeria (CAN) has urged Nigerians of all backgrounds, professions and faiths to support ongoing peace efforts and avoid actions that could undermine attempts to address the country's security challenges, particularly in the Middle Belt region. In a statement, CAN strongly condemned what it described as the brutal attacks and persistent violence inflicted upon communities in states such as Plateau, Benue, and Gombe. Signed by the CAN president, Archbishop Daniel Oko, the statement also warned against inflammatory rhetoric that could heighten tensions and destabilize the nation, emphasizing that engagement with stakeholders remains a recognized diplomatic approach that promotes dialogue and mutual understanding. Archbishop Oko appealed to all citizens to refrain from spreading unverified information that could further deepen divisions. He further stressed that credible platforms like the Nigerian Interreligious Council (NIREC) offer the appropriate space to raise concerns and collaboratively pursue practical and sustainable solutions. In another development, some scholars in Benue State, under the aegis of Ayatutu professors, want national and state legislators from the state to urgently deal with the incessant attacks on Benue communities. They equally called for a community approach to security, which must be within the framework of careful post-conflict management of its complexities. They include the call, they made the call following killings in the state for what they termed as alleged land grabbing, disruption of the economy and culture of the people, as well as mining of mineral resources. The Chairman, Board of Trustees and Council of Management of the Scholars, Professor Tor Iorapu, and Secretary, Professor Simon Erwangi, in a statement acknowledged the efforts of the various tiers of government, but stressed the need for them to rise to their responsibility of protecting lives and property of the two people and Benue State citizens in general. They suggested the expansion of the role of the State Bureau of Homeland Security to include farming communities protection with community-based funding of the activities of the Bureau. The Nigerian Air Force has reiterated its determination to enhancing professional capacity, improving personnel welfare, and safeguarding Nigeria's territorial integrity. Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Bala Abubakar, gave the assurance at the winging and graduation ceremony of Basic Transport Flying Course 5 and Students Pilot Course 49 held at the 401 Flying Training School, NAF base in Kaduna State. Osman Sani completes the report.
Air Marshal Hassan Bala Abubakar explained that the current leadership of the Nigerian Air Force is upgrading training institutions, inducting more aircraft, and evolving doctrines to meet the demands of modern warfare. He charged the newly graduated pilots to view their flying qualifications not merely as personal milestones, but as a solemn national responsibility. The Chief of the Air Staff reminded them of the immense trust placed on their shoulders, stressing that their graduation marked the beginning of a lifelong commitment to national service.
Injection of these freshly trained, well-equipped pilots into the various theaters of operations will go a long way in enhancing the efficacy of those operational theaters.
Commander 401 Flying Training School, Air Commodore Nasser Saidu, disclosed that since the inception of the current NAF administration, the school had received significant boost in infrastructural development. He expressed delight over the progress made so far by the young pilots and assured that they would excel in their future roles and and deployments. Air Commodore Saidu also assured that efforts shall be intensified to make the 401 Flying Training School a center of excellence for military flying training, not only in Nigeria, but in the West African sub-region and even beyond. A total of 35 new aviators, comprising 10 basic transport corps and 25 ab initio student pilots graduated. High points of the event was the presentation of awards to deserving graduates. In Kaduna, Usman Sani, Radio Nigeria.
The First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has called for unity among people of Plateau State for progress and growth. The First Lady made the appeal during this year's Nzemberom Cultural Festival held at the Polo Field, Jos. Stanley Helen has details.
Zambirom is a cultural festival celebrated by the Birom people, one of the most populous ethnic groups in Plateau State. It is a week-long celebration that showcases the rich cultural heritage of the Birom nation through various activities. The festival is usually held in April or May and attracts visitors from all over the world. It was a celebration of the Birom culture, unity and identity, with this year's theme celebrating the prowess, gallantry and resilience of the Birom woman, past and present. The First Lady, Remi Tinubu, commiserated with people of the state over the ugly incidences that befell the state, stressed the need for people to form a united front to ensure the protection of their heritage. Represented by wife of the Speaker, House of Representatives, Hajia Fatima Tajuddin, emphasized that festivals like this serves as an avenue for the people to use such opportunities to celebrate and think of ways to protect its heritage.
I am particularly pleased that this festival is coming at a time when there is an increased call for unity and peace among our people.
Governor Caleb Mufam acknowledged the contributions of the Birom nation to the development of the state and saluted the doggedness of the paramount ruler in ensuring that the Birom nation becomes an entity.
But as you go, tell our mother that we on the plateau regard ourselves as her firstborn.
Paramount ruler Ambongon Jos, Dajo Kobiak Buba, lamented the resurgence of insecurity in some parts of the state and the increased rate of child trafficking. There were goodwill messages from the Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development, Senator representing Plateau North, other members of the National Assembly, traditional rulers, Speaker of the State House of Assembly, amongst others. In Jos, Stanley Helen, Radio Nigeria.
Next is State House Diary compiled by Fatima Ngogo.
My name is Fatima Ngogo, and today we will be reviewing the activities from the Presidential Villa. On Monday last week, President Bola Tinubu congratulated Remo Stars Football Club on winning the Nigerian Premier Football League title. Praising it as a historic achievement, he commended the team's perseverance after previous near misses and lauded the dedication of the players, coaches and management. The president also acknowledged club owner Mr. Kunle Soname's contribution to grassroots football development. As the new national champions, the Remo Stars will represent Nigeria in the CAF Champions League, with the president urging them to pursue continental success with the same determination. On Tuesday last week, the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, inaugurated a new community ICT center in Ibadan, developed in partnership with NITDA, aimed at bridging the digital divide and empowering women and youth. The initiative aligns with the Renewed Hope agenda, focusing on health, education, and digital empowerment.
Other digital economy centers have been fully equipped with computers and ICT materials in 5 states, namely Cross River, Ebonyi, Jigawa, Niger, Oyo, and the Federal Capital Territory. All our program is people-centered, and we are not biased, it's not favoring one party over the other.
She also urged traditional rulers and stakeholders in Oyo State to take a stronger stand against female genital mutilation, HIV, AIDS, syphilis, and hepatitis, highlighting the harmful effects and the need for increased health awareness among youth. On Wednesday last week, The Nigerian government reaffirmed its commitment to a strategic partnership with the European Union as the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development prepares to open its first West African office in Lagos. During a meeting with the EU Ambassador Gautier Mignot, the Vice President Kashim Shettima emphasized Nigeria's readiness for business under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's reform-driven leadership. He also acknowledged the EU's contributions to humanitarian efforts in regions like Borno State.
Trade and investment, more than ever before, Nigeria is ready for business.
On the same day, the Vice President reaffirmed the administration's commitment to unlocking Nigeria's full potential through bold economic reforms and strategic human capital development. During a visit from a delegation of the Hertie School of Governance led by Dr. Rolf Alter, the Vice President emphasized the importance of upskilling Nigerians under the Human Capital Development Program. He noted the government's readiness to collaborate with global institutions to improve policy implementation. Last week, Saturday, President Tinubu concluded a 2-day working visit to Katsina State, where he attended the wedding party of Governor Dikko Rada's daughter. He also addressed and commended troops, commissioned a 24-kilometer road, and inaugurated an agricultural mechanization farm center.
I assure you that the federal government remains committed to your progress. The second phase of Katsina-Kano Road is firmly on course. We have resolved the previous technical and bureaucratic challenges, and work is ongoing on that road.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of State House Diary. I am Fatima Elbisi.
Semi-finalists emerge in the men's competition of this year's President Federation Football Club as teams pick quarter-final tickets in women's version. And Flying Eagles of Nigeria face Morocco today in the Africa Under-20 Nations Cup as Team Nigeria wrestlers clinched gold medals at the Senior Africa Wrestling Championship in Morocco. Over now to Alain Boda Tonye for details.
Giant killers Abakaliki FC continue their fairy tale run in the men's competition of the 2025 Nigerian President Federation Cup as the Ebonyi State team egged Nasarawa United 5-4 on penalty shootout in an absorbing quarter-final contest that ended 1-1 in regulation time at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin City. At the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium in Enugu, Kwara United recovered from a 2-0 deficit to force Akwa United to a 2-all draw and qualify for the last 5-3 on penalty shootouts. Also through to the semis are Ikorodu FC, who pipped Wiki Tourist 1-0 at the Buhari Center in Abuja, just as Rangers International overcame Plateau United 1-0, also in Abuja, to advance. In the semi-finals, Abakaliki FC will face Ikorodu City at the Buhari Stadium, while Rangers clash with Kwara United in an all-Premier League showdown at the Area 3 pitch in Abuja. The women's tournament saw Edo Queens smash Osun Babes 3-0 to reach the quarter-finals, as Rivers Angels dropped First Mahi Babes 5-0 at the Enyimba Stadium at Aba. Sunshine Queens rallied from a 1-goal deficit to pip Confluence Queens 2-1, while Heartland Queens crushed Onimag FC of Ondo State 5-0, as Nasarawa Amazons defeated Bayelsa Queens 2-1, while Ibom Angels triumphed by a 1-0 over Delta Queens in round of 16 matches to pick tickets for the last 8th stage of the President Federation Cup. In France, Super Falcons of Nigeria goalkeeper Chiamaka Nadozie helped Paris FC team in the Women's Coupe de France final when they beat Paris Saint-Germain 5-4 on penalties to lift the trophy after both sides played a barren draw in full time. PSG features another Nigerian forward, Jennifer Echegini. The Flying Eagles of Nigeria will tonight clash with Morocco in their second Group B game at the CAF Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations, Egypt 2025. The encounter is scheduled to kick off at 9 p.m. at the 30th June Stadium in Cairo, as Tunisia take on Kenya in the other fixture billed to start at 6 p.m. The coach Aliyu Zubairu tutored Flying Eagles began their campaign at the tournament last lost Thursday with a 1-0 win over Tunisia, while Morocco pipped Kenya 3-2. Nigeria's last group game is against Kenya on Wednesday as Tunisia face off with Morocco in a North African duel same day, with both matches starting from 6 p.m. Chairman of the main organizing committee for the recently concluded Made in Niger Delta Sports Festival, Alabo Moniya, says the games have created more unity and friendships among athletes, officials and administrators across the region. Even an assessment of the 9-day fiesta which took place in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, he said the bonding the festival had provided would last for a lifetime.
We have been able to create new bonds. See the unity in Niger Delta. See the friendship. Some of these youths, they will keep those friendships for a lifetime. That's the importance of these games. That's what we have been able to achieve. See the bonding between states. That unity that we don't have in the Niger Delta. Other than oil that binds all of us together as a region. Look at what sports is doing for us. In our country, there's nothing that unifies us other than sports. It's not our languages that we speak. It's not our tribes. It's not our religion, but sports. When it is time for sports, Edo man is my friend, Akwa Ibom man is my brother. Everybody will have come together. We will be able to achieve that with the Niger Delta Sports Festival.
On the next host for the second edition of the Sub-Regional Sports Fiesta, Alabo Yaye, who is the Executive Director of Finance and Administration at the Niger Delta Development Commission, said the bids will be thrown open for states to get the rights.
You see the excitement that we have created in the region, in the Niger Delta. When we started this whole process, we were looking for which state we host. And at the back of our mind, we felt Edo State just hosted the National Sports Festival in 2020 and then Delta in 2022. So we felt, okay, let's look for another state that has never hosted such a magnitude of event. And so we chose Akwa Ibom. So I'm pleased with what we have seen, what we've been able to achieve. We will throw it open. We want states to have the zeal to be interested. It's not we now taking it to them like we did in this case to Akwa Ibom. Say, please help us to host. No. Now we will pride ourselves in our success to say we have a good product. Are you interested? Yes. So come, let's plan it together. Because there's a lot of mileage for the state. See what Akwa Ibom has achieved. See the economies of scale. Their GDP has grown.
Alabo Yaye said the objective of the competition was to discover and groom new talented sportsmen and women in the area. Team Nigerian wrestlers continue to shine at the 2025 Senior African Wrestling Championship in Casablanca, Morocco. On Saturday, Christiana Ogunsanya won gold for Nigeria in the 53-kilogram freestyle event, defeating Nogona Bakayoko of Cote d'Ivoire, as Esther Kolawole also clinched gold medal in the 63 kg category after beating Farah Hussein of Egypt 10-0. Chelsea and Liverpool go head-to-head later this afternoon in the Premiership as the Blues, who have 60 points, target a win to boost their quest to clinch a UEFA Champions League spot when they welcome the newly crowned champions, Liverpool, with 82 points at Stamford Bridge in London. On Saturday, Arsenal lost 1-2 to Bournemouth at the Emirates Stadium, London, but remains second with 67 points. That does it for sports. I am Palambo Natoyin.
Next is Cyberscope, bringing you trends shaping conversations across Nigeria's social media space. The FCT Minister Nyesom Wike isn't holding back. He slammed a group of women loyal to suspended Rivers State Governor Sim Fubara after they staged a walkout during an empowerment program sponsored by First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu. The move is a stirring debate on social media, with many interpreting it as a clash between political allegiance and personal loyalty. In a heartfelt chat with Ebro Durden on Apple Music One, Davido opened up about his newborn twins, revealing that his son bears an uncanny and scary resemblance to his late son Ifeanyi. This touching moment has sparked a wave of love and support from fans across the timeline. Vice President Kashim Shettima trends alongside Gabon's new president, ex-junta leader Brice Oligui Nguema, as he joins African leaders in Libreville for the inauguration. The event marks the beginning of a new political chapter in Gabon, one many Africans are closely watching. The FCCPC has issued a stern warning to Meta. Nigeria's laws are not optional. This follows growing concern over WhatsApp's possible exit from Nigeria in response to new regulations, highlighting the tension between national governance and global tech firms. On a chaotic live stream, American rapper Kanye West claimed he is gay while ranting about his ex-wife Kim Kardashian. The shocking revelation has set the internet ablaze, fueling intense speculation and debate about his motives and mental state. Well, Kanye in the news again. That's a wrap for now. Stay connected with @Radio Nigeria and join the conversation using #Cyberscope compiled by Jennifer Ogo. Next is commentary. The commentary is on You and Your Laughter. It is written by Kabir Babatunde of our legal department.
World Laughter Day is celebrated every year on first Sunday of May to spread global consciousness of happiness, healing, friendship, unity, and brotherhood through the power of laughter. Established in 1998 by Dr. Madan Kataria, founder of the Laughter Yoga movement, the first World Laughter Day took place in Mumbai, India, on January 11, 1998. Since it is said that the primary function of laughter is to create profound social bonds, it is only proper for humanity to celebrate the day by laughing out loud to their heart's content. The longest sustained laughter, according to Harvard record, is by Sunil Kumar SV from India, who laughed continuously for 4 hours, 1 minute and 14 seconds. Laughter, as an evolutionary component of man, is said to be so fundamental to his emotions that he expresses it effortlessly, spontaneously, or unconsciously, like breathing or thinking. Laughter can be a good experience while it lasts. It is said to be the best medicine for coping with stress and improving overall well-being, even if it does not replace actual medical treatment. It is not meant to re-echo Yoruba proverb, which says, when a matter is beyond crying over, it is better to laugh it off. It is not intended to revisit William Shakespeare's saying that there are daggers in men's smiles, the nearer in blood, the nearer bloody. In a world of fears and tears, slaughter and laughter, there is need for balanced perspective between inquisition and disquisition. Laughter is not exclusive to man. The Homo sapiens, otherwise called the primates, are said to express it too. Laughter must also have its underlying spiritual inference, as recorded in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 4 of the Bible, that there is a time to cry and a time to laugh, just as the Quran in chapter 53, verse 43, provides that mankind experiences happiness and grief, and inward tears can permeate, veneer of laughter. Laughter and tears can both be oxymoronic and paradoxical in the sense that as laughter expresses sadness, so does tears express happiness. Practical wisdom enables man to smile or laugh while navigating life's challenges and appreciating the nuances of human experience. World Laughter Day is not meant to celebrate laughter expressed on purpose to ridicule human defect, social error, or cynical imputation. They tend to have stink in their tail. Laughter in the face of abiding sorrow does not necessarily translate to the ability to deal with the sorrow. The day is not a celebration of paradoxical, uncontrollable, unprompted laughter, which is out of context with emotional circumstance or serious situations. It is not meant to deride or ridicule a country's situation or to understate or underestimate its seriousness. Laughter sometimes requires indifference and detachment from popular sensibility and sensitivity to its implication on the gravity of a country's situation. Laughing at a country's failure does not necessarily indicate indifference, resignation to fate, or to desire to address them. If Nigerians intend to celebrate this day by laughing heartily in spite of themselves, if only to comply temporarily with the requirements of the occasion, they must remember that Nigeria's situation is no laughing matter.
That commentary on You and Your Laughter was written by Kabir Babatunde and presented by Rachel Bwala. And now we bring you newspaper headlines. Let's begin with the punch. 2027 PDP governors strike deal with Wike. Ex-NNPCL boss Milikari denies arrest rumors. The nation is next. Insecurity. How will recover lost territories from bandits? Tinubu, Obasanjo, Oshibajo. Governors, others bid Ayo Adebanjo farewell. NOAA pledges support for Operation Safe Corridor. UNICEF boosts immunization in Imo with 425 solar-powered refrigerators. President Tinubu to flag off construction of Abia Airport. Shetima, African leaders attend the inauguration of Gabon's president. Rivers, Wike slams Fubara. That's Wike slams Fubara over walkout at Women's Empowerment Program. FG dares Meta to shut Facebook, Instagram in Nigeria. Next is Vanguard. Terror. 3 states record 26 attacks, 227 deaths in 4 months. Emergency rule. Tinubu under pressure to reinstate Fubara May 29. Police arrest suspected kidnappers who transferred 70 million naira from victim's account. Traffic schedule adjusted as Anambra prepares for Tinubu's visit. $2.96 billion alleged fraud. EFCC expands NNPCL probe. And that's newspaper headlines for now. Moving on, the weather update is next. Moderate dust haze is expected over the northern region with chances of localized thunderstorms over parts of southern Adamawa and Taraba states in the afternoon and evening hours. In the north central region, sunny skies with patches of clouds are anticipated with prospects of isolated thunderstorms over parts of Kogi, Kwara, and Benue states during the afternoon and evening hours. In the southern region, isolated morning thunderstorms are expected over parts of Cross River, Bayelsa, Delta, Akwa Ibom, and River states. Later in the day, thunderstorms are anticipated over parts of Osun, Ogun, Ondo, Oyo, Ekiti, Edo, Imo, Abia, Anambra, Enugu, Ebonyi, Rivers, Cross River, Bayelsa, Akwa Ibom, Delta, and Lagos states. That's the weather update for now. Now, to wrap up the news, here is a recap of our major stories. The federal government has commenced the National Flood Campaign to educate and sensitize the public about flood risks and safety measures. The National Health Insurance Authority, NHIA, has commenced on-the-spot assessment of the level of compliance with the new directives on the 1-hour deadline for the issuance of pre-authorization code by health management organizations, HMOs. The Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, says it has provided free healthcare services to over 3,000 residents of Oshafa in Buari Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory. And we also told you that the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission says the recent claim by WhatsApp that it may be forced to exit Nigeria appears to be a calculated move to induce negative public reaction and pressure the Commission to reconsider its decision. And that's the news edited by Ibrahim Shoaibu and the production team. I am Yahya Omar.
Èmi Alhaji Abbas Akande, the Paramount King of Music, àgbà kí abọ́ba gbọ́n gbogbo ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Mo ń fi àsìkò yìí mo fi ń kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń bá a dùn papọ̀, ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń gbọ́.